I mean, sometimes a student will say, they'll bring in something, or they'll ask me in advance, I had a dream about something, or they might say something about a family member. So what I might say to that is something like, we can't grade you as a person, and we can't comment on you as a person. That would be to violate, all kinds of standards. So we don't do that. But if there's something in your personal life that resonates with the authors that we're dealing with, then if you do it that way, if you talk, that will give you a way of getting deeper into the author. And you may want to make like a comment without going into a lot of detail about yourself, just as by way of an illustration, which is different. I do teach a course on theoretical and clinical psychoanalysis. Now in that course, because the students are clinicians, training to be clinicians in various contexts, when they want to talk about themselves or their own, those papers, only I grade them. There's no TAs, there's nothing like that. I grade the papers, it's confidential. So if the student there wants to reflect on some aspect of their experience as a way of, because when you're working clinically, you use your personality, you have to. That's okay. For them, that's a different thing. But for, say, a regular arts and science class, that's what I try to encourage. And by telling the students too, I mean, the way you receive this material, the way you react to it, the meaning it has for you, that's about you. So when they ask, well, can I write my paper with I think? I say, of course you can write. But who else is thinking? Of course it's you, right? So in that way, it's a tricky line to walk to be sure that we don't hurt students or exploit them or, violate, not respect boundaries and without being rigid. And, it's tricky. I want to model for them generous scholarship, generous and respectful scholarship, not, here's the truth, I have it, you don't. Be grateful, that I'm giving you my great wisdom. I don't, probably nobody does that anymore, but I talk about that. I talk about generosity in scholarship. I talk about having expansive mentalities and really trying to see from the other point of view, but also staying in yourself and in whatever the texts are that we're studying. And it's challenging. Because one of the things is many of our students are very, what's the right word? Diffident, I guess, or like, you really care what I think? Really? Like, I can say, I think? Well, in my class, usually in the sciences or something, I dare not say that. So yeah, but who's the thinker that thinks the thought, right? It's you in the community. So that for some students, that's kind of like, and then they start wondering, is this because it's humanities and everybody knows humanities is less than second class? It's not about knowledge or truth. So there's a lot of challenges. And what's the emotional cost? Because there's always an emotional cost to students if they have to step out of a tradition or a family or a political loyalty. There's a cost. And so how do they think about that cost? How do they think about the fact that it's okay to be yourself, and that if people don't like it, well, there's their stuff and your stuff, but then again, got to be careful of that too, so that the students, I don't ever cross the line between sort of teaching and therapy. I'm very careful with that. A student just recently raised a question about a family member, and the student spoke in some detail about the family member and some of the struggles of this family member and the way in which it impacted the student and asked my opinion about that. So I said, well, I can't talk about this person, but what I can do is take a step back and think, how can we think about this psychoanalytically? What concepts come to mind that will help us find a way, not of analyzing it, but thinking about what might be going on here? I did that. That's the kind of thing I will do. That's the way I approach that, because, if I were to say to a student, oh yeah, well, I can't talk about that. Well, then I'm humiliating the student. We have to be so careful in education from, kindergarten up, that we don't fall back on aspects of humiliation as a pedagogical tool or to establish our authority. Maybe that's changed a lot now in the schools, but that was certainly the case when I was growing up. And students can be very easily humiliated. And we have to be really careful about that. I'm not saying my colleagues do that or try to do that, but there's all kinds of ways you can humiliate a student just by the micro interactions that you have with them,